through your freedom.
Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Well, welcome back, folks. It is a fruit salad Olympic SHTF disaster, is it not? Wow. We've been calling them fruit cakes, fruit salad shooters, along with other names to make fun of them. They have earned it. They earned every last bit of it. Tonight, I'm drinking a cup of, you guessed it, www.cafefe.com coffee. And I also have, some black roast Kraken in it. And, I tell you what, I wanted to be wide awake for this show because it's that important. We're going to be talking about a lot of SHTF, acceleration, and threats of violence that are coming. Threats of violence are coming. Woo! That's good coffee, folks. And I am a member of the deplorable crowd. Proudly deplorable with cafefe.com. Folks, really good coffee. Even Sunday night. I had a few people say, thank you, Jolene. There's their link. There's their website. I was told what? Use the reference code there because I think that gets you some kind of coffee discount. Anyways, very patriotic people, and they've got a sense of humor. Obviously, if they're sponsoring this show here, the Prepared Mind Network, the Prepared Mind channel, the rsyndicate.com, all of us and everything, you know they're good people. They've got to be. No other way around it. Anyways, I'll be drinking this. Oh, and let's get into this. Darcy T checked in with a $50 PayPal super chat donation. We've got a lot of great donations, folks, and it is you guys and your donations that keep us here, pay the bills, so I don't have to go out and get, a second job and a third job and a fourth job, everything. Oh, we get a 10% off with the Prepared 10. There it is right there, folks. That's how you get discount, but I like supporting patriots. And I like punishing liberal, Democrat, communist scumbags like Netflix. I'd already canceled, but I let them know I canceled you again, people. And same with the Olympics. Folks, I knew there was going to be a shit show when it came to the Olympics. Knew it was coming. So I did not watch it live. I have not given 1 cent to their advertisers by being on TV watching it. In fact, the liberals are throwing a fit. You're just hurting the athletes by not watching. No, we're hurting the corporations that support them by not watching them. And by the way, the 6th largest communications company in America, communications companies like Spectrum or Frontier, right? The 6th largest, and I've got their name somewhere written down. I'll give them some credit a little bit later here, unless someone wants to put it up on the screen. They said that's it, and they pulled all of their advertising for the rest of the Olympics. They don't want anything to do with it because they mocked the Last Supper. They mocked Christianity. They mocked us. And what do you want to talk about with respect to the Olympics, the elections, things that are going on around the world? It's a little too much coffee sometimes. And here we go. By the way, a couple years ago or whenever it was, I can't remember now, Jenny Jen in California and her son, Gray, good friends of mine, sent me this black roast coffee rum, and I'm down to the very last shot. If someone does a $100 super chat, I'll drink that straight. Coffee flavored freaking rum. But for the most part, super chat donations $50 and up. Does a Glenn Levitt 15 as usual. And guess what? Pow, we're going to start with Darcy T, who's done a $50 super chat and asks a very good question. So I'm going to be a wide awake, inebriated Swede here because, yes, I am having coffee and alcohol. Here's to you, Darcy T. Semper Fi, and thank you for always supporting the channel. Hitting that website address up there, sharing that with friends, hitting the thumbs up down below, and of course being a subscriber. Right? Everything helps keep this channel live and keeping America free. And we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. For now, bottoms up. Salut. First one down the hole. Woo! And Darcy says this. If Kamala Harris happens to win the election, what do you suppose will happen to American-Israeli relations? Do you think it will open up even more anti-Jewish, anti-Israel sentiment here in the United States? Darcy, that's a great question because what is going on with Israel is some incredible stuff. First off, let me say that it is very sad to hear that 10 children, was it 10 or 11 children, were murdered by Hezbollah, who sent a missile in and hit children playing on a soccer field. Just unconscionable, unbelievable, evil, nasty, rude, just despicable. I mean, literally, this. Now, was it Hezbollah or was it Mossad? Was it Hamas or was it ISIS? Well, it was terrorism, folks. But they're blaming Hezbollah, who are Iranian-supported terrorists, and they live everywhere in the Middle East, except Palestine, I guess. I guess they can be found in Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Iran, etc. So what do I think is going to happen? Well, right now, currently, Camel Toes Harris is pretending that she doesn't support Israel. At the same time, in the past, she has supported Israel. So once again, the liberal Democrats are trying to play both sides. But your question was, what if Kamala Harris happens to win the election? Well, the answer, I think, is going to be no matter what, the anti-Jewish sentiment in America will increase, period. Whether it's Kamala Harris or President Trump. The question is, what type of actions will they continue to take? The sentiment, as you ask about, is going to continue to be very negative. If Kamala Harris wins, they will be both negative sentiment, very, very loud protests. Now, this is just my predictions and my thoughts. If Kamala Harris wins, and Kamala Harris decides she's going to support Israeli actions, as things stand today, as we understand them, there will be loud protest. They will say there's blood on her hands the same way they say Joe Biden has blood on his hands for supporting Israel in the past or whatever. They'll always look and find some reason to accuse whoever's in authority of being responsible for what's happening, no matter what. No matter what, they're going to protest, they're going to burn, they're going to be violent. The longer the terrorists or terrorists supporting protesters, which makes them terrorists in my book, the longer they're allowed to exist here, the more, shall we say, entitled they're going to feel, because they don't think they feel. The more entitled they're going to feel that they should be allowed to do whatever the hell they want. Period. Period, period, period. So, what happens if Kamala Harris wins and decides she doesn't like Israel? Because let's just say Israel starts attacking Hezbollah in other nations, maybe up in Lebanon next, Syria. We're going to find out. Maybe they start bombing in Jordan or perhaps Egypt. We're going to find out. But let's just say Kamala Harris decides she's not going to support Israel and she condemns their actions. Well, then the pro-Palestinian, pro-Hezbollah, pro-Hamas, pro-murder, pro-rape, pro-baby killing, pro-children killing supporters in America. Well, if the president, Kamala, decides she is against Israel, then they're going to feel even more justified in their protests, their rallies, their flag burning, their desecration of American monuments. So no matter what, they're going to use it as an excuse. They're sad that they've been told that they suck, so they're going to fight back. Or if Kamala supports them, well, now they're inspired by Kamala. That's what happens if Kamala Harris wins. America goes further down the toilet. Great question, Darcy T. Thank you for the $50 super chat donation. $50 super chat always helps, but doesn't matter. You can do a $2 or $200, like John did a few weeks back. I never know what's coming in this show. I never know what's coming. I do know, though, that Cafefe is damn good coffee. And we are going to have one hell of a big week coming. I have a huge week of work and a huge month of work. The month of August is going to be the busiest I've ever been since I've gotten here in the South. So stand by for an exhausted yet enthusiastic John throughout the month of August. It's coming. I mean, it's the 28th today, but trust me, it's coming. Now, let us continue with the show. It is now time for another $50 super chat. It is a $55.56 super chat from none other than Chin Music, who did a Venmo super chat donation. And tell you what, here's to you, Mr. Chin Music, and the family, to their health and speedy recovery, et cetera, as well as happy weddings and good times as the nation sinks into SHTF trouble. Apparently, we've got Mr. Chin Music's question, so let's get to it, if we shall. In fact, where the heck would that be? Let's see. Where is Chin Music? Dun, 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 dun. I don't have it. Oh, there it is, right there. Kapow. $55.56, a 556. Thank you, super chat there, Chin Music. Down the hatch. Oh, boy, I tell you what, folks. 15-year Glenlivet Scotch. It's like mother's milk. Semper Fi, Chin. Now, what does he want to talk about? The FBI. FBI? Trust the FBI? He's asking me if I trust the FBI. Let's find out what I think of the FBI. We've got quite a bit in the news from them this weekend. You're going to enjoy this. You're going to enjoy this. Where the heck is it? Here we go. The FBI, the FBI director, Chris Wray. Remember when he threw the idea out there? He threw the idea out there that it was shrapnel that hit the president of the United States, Donald Trump, in the ear. He floated this bullshit shrapnel conspiracy theory, and he did it to discredit Trump as strong and as an all-American man. He did that to discredit the movement that is growing behind Trump, to try and take away, right, the enthusiasm that comes from seeing a man take a bullet through the ear and stand up and shake his fist and say, fight, fight, fight. So now, right, after floating this bullshit story, the FB liars now say that the bullet did strike President Trump and go through his ear. And it was a limp-wristed apologetic retreat by the FB lie. Chris Wray, in my opinion, is a chicken shit, carpet-bagging, noodle-slurping, deep state whore. He'll do anything they want and say anything they want, because that's what his job is, to suck up to the deep state and the power structure that controls the monetary and banking systems. Period. That's who he is. So there's no respect. There's no trust for the FBI. Period. Why should we? Why should you trust the FBI? Tell me what they've done for us lately. Tell me. Right? No, nothing. Nada. Zip, zilch. No. Not a bit, right? Fucking nothing. There's nothing about them. He says, trust the FBI. Are you fucking kidding me? Right? I think this is number 2 here. The FBI pulled Roger Stone, and his wife from bed at 6 a.m. with CNN, the most trusted name in news, in tow. They jailed Manafort. They jailed Peter Navarro, the man who stood up for us against Dr. Fauci and shouted his little, crooked, evil elf ass down. They jailed Steve Bannon. They raided Mar-a-Lago. They went after General Flynn. And they blackmailed him. They lied to him and put him in jail. And they terrorized his son if he didn't plead to bullshit charges. They have gone after everyone around Trump. And now that sack of filth, human filth, Chris Wray suggests Trump may not have been shot. And I just had to cover that first, man. Right? We have 0 parts of our government functioning correctly. And they've been after Trump for 8 years simply because he loves this country, says Chin Music. You're good, Jolene. I don't care if you like him. He's definitely proved that much. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Trump has been, nationalist, pro-America. Right? Of course, as everyone knows, I want this country to be pure constitutionalist, freedom and liberty for us, the people. In any event, I want to thank Chin Music for his great comments here, his suggestions, and talking about this. Let's go back here, right? All these people he lines out, Chin Music's not making this shit up. These people have all been arrested, interrogated, terrorized, and that's just the celebrities, right? They've gone after supporters of Trump, gone to their homes. The FBI goes to the houses of people who pray for people who are getting abortions, to pray that they change their mind, to pray for the baby they're about to murder. They go to their homes and they point guns at adults who protest abortion and terrorize their children. There is no respect for the FBI, folks. They're fucking liars. They're fucking liars, period. Do you trust them? What if they were to arrest me? Would you believe their charges against me? I mean, what are they going to say I do? Support Hezbollah? Right? Are they going to say what? That I robbed gold at Fort Knox? What are they going to say if they were to arrest me or arrest you or arrest Uman or arrest Chin Music or arrest anybody? Could you believe them? No. Right? They're absolutely awful, awful humans. Now, is there or are there a few good FBI agents? I'm sure of it. Absolutely sure of it. But I wouldn't trust any of them. The same way you have to say, well, there's good cops and bad cops. Well, you don't know what you're dealing with until it's right in front of you. And I don't trust anyone with the FBI logo, folks. All right. Well, enough on that one. FBI, they're going to continue to be in the crosshairs. They're going to continue to be out there with us in their crosshairs. I tell you what, folks. Now, I've got another super chat that came in early, folks. Matthew D. did a $20 PayPal super chat donation. And he says, hey, YouTube doesn't need to take any money. So, yeah, you've got the super chat button right up there. And then you've got PayPal, Venmo, and we've got a direct link to the Prepared Mind. One quick second. Hang on. All righty. Piece of paper falling off the wall over there. And we're back. YouTube doesn't need to take any money. Let's see. And anyways, this is the super chat through the club, right? And that's the website address. But let's do this. Man, Jolene, if you can, and you see anything from Matt D, we'll put him back up here because, well, he's done a $20 super chat, but I don't have a question, a comment, a thought. But that's what Sunday Night Live is about. It's you guys and what you want to talk about. It's you guys and what you want to talk about. So is it politics, social, military, right? Is it finance, something international, something domestic, school, you name it, it's your show. You guys control the dialogue. You guys control the content. It is Sunday Night Live. And yeah, well, you can even talk about the fruit salad shooting morons at the Olympics. Lots and lots of people are absolutely outraged about that, including the French. Now, Emmanuel Macron, he jumped up and down practically saying, this is France. Well, the French people don't really agree that that's very French. The idea, right? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look at the thumbnail that I put up for this show. In fact, that image might get taken down. It might get taken down because the people that put that on, that filmed it, that broadcast it, they claim that they have copyright ownership of all images from the Olympics. Well, what they're not doing is they're not recognizing this thing called fair use, the Fair Use Act, that allows people like me or you with their social media, television studios, newsrooms. You might just say, how about newspapers like Zero Hedge or the Epic Times or Gateway Pundit? They're going to say they can't use that image, but they can. It's called fair use. For purposes of education, news reporting, satire, etc. You can't use everything complete, but you can take excerpts, video and sound, or still photos and use them. But they're scrubbing the internet because their Satanism was so in everyone's face, literally in everyone's face. You know, you could say it was disrespectful to Christianity. But the fruitcakes out there, folks, get this. The fruitcakes out in the world said, we don't care what you guys think. We don't care about your religious beliefs and your religious dogmas. We don't care. We're going to do what we want. And so someone challenged him and said, well, then why don't you do Muhammad of Islam fame? Why don't you do Muhammad in drag? You know, they're not going to answer that because they're absolutely afraid of Muhammad. Meanwhile, they pretend to be queers for Palestine, which is a one-way ticket off the top of a building. And a short drop and a sudden stop at the bottom of a building will end it. But they're still continuing to think that, well, yeah, they're there, right? That's what they do. And by the way, the tech company that pulled all of their Olympic ads following the demonic ceremony that they opened the Olympics with, which mocked Christians, the Last Supper, anything decent. That company was C Spire. C Spire. It's not the company that's available in my area, but if it is or becomes in the future, I'll definitely switch to them for pulling their money out of the Olympics. Pulling their money. And don't forget, folks, there are athletes from around the world. There's one, I think, from some European nation. He is a convicted child rapist, and he's representing his country in the Olympics. Unbelievable. You know, there's trans athletes there. Unbelievable. That would be men competing in women's sports, claiming, right, that they're women. Unbelievable that they're allowing that. The Olympics is no longer the Olympics. The Olympics is now an athletic social program designed to program people into believing their shit. It's no wonder their ratings are incredibly low and going even lower by the minute. Nobody cares. I won't watch it. I'll wait for highlights. The stupid that happens, the incredible evil that comes out of it. I'll just wait and watch. I'll wait and watch. Not them. I'll just watch the news, right? I'll watch the news. All right. We've got a $10 super chat donation that popped through CashApp. And I think that might be Heidi. Unless something else comes up. But HKC, Mr. Uman and Jolene, HKC did a $10 super chat donation. So I'll wait for that question to pop through as well. But I'm pretty sure it's Heidi. She went to the Trump rally in Minnesota over the weekend. Went to the Trump rally over the Minnesota. She's about as good at putting up with, hot weather as I am. Anyways, Heidi sent some pictures. And Heidi let me know that she couldn't get into the rally. There were too many people. In fact, get this. There were about 25,000 people could not get in. The overflow was tremendous. Way too many. They filled the entire place. The entire rally was filled to the rim. Totally. 25,000 people waited outside, stood outside, partied outside, listened outside, period. There were several hundreds, if not thousands, at Butler, Pennsylvania, where the assassination attempt occurred. But here in Minnesota, and Minnesota has gone to Democrats, folks, Democrat candidates for president for, I think, a couple of decades. But now the Trump support is off the hook. And Heidi reported to me that the people there were incredible, absolutely incredible. She said the crowd was friendly, enthusiastic, kind-hearted, right? When she started getting tired, they got her a chair to sit down in. They took care of her, right? And it's amazing to hear that kind of goodness coming out of Americans who are like me and you. By the way, we're over 300 people live right now, and the count is going up. I want us to hit 400 and keep on going. How do we do that? Hit the thumbs up and share that internet address up there. And if you want to join into the chat, normally we have it set where you have to be a subscriber. So hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that. Get into the comment section. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time. But if you've got something to say, a prediction, a prognostication, a thought about something, a potential, or if you want to discuss the things that are happening, hit the super chat button and get your comments down below, and we'll get you on the screen and we'll make you famous. All right, Jolene, who wants to be up next on the Prepared Mind channel? And it is Dan Erickson. And he says, with a $5 super chat, 5. He says, what I would like to know is where these teenage criminals are getting Glocks with switches. That's a great question. Glocks with switches. In other words, full auto Glock pistols. They have extended magazines. I don't know where they're getting them. But I have a funny feeling, Mr. Dan, that the full auto systems for Glocks can be readily manufactured at any machine shop. And so it just takes one guy with, whether it's steel or aluminum, whatever the piece is, to churn them out. They may even be printing them on 3D printers. I don't know what the requirement is for a Glock. I don't own a Glock. I own a 1911 and a Colt Gold Cup 1911 and 45 ACP, and I own 357 Magnums, the old wheel gun, right? Anyways, but the Glocks are switches. So I know someone is manufacturing them very easily. I mean, the parts that go into a weapon to make them function full auto, they're not expensive. They're just technical. It's not like you have to be an engineering wizard. You just have to have some plans or a diagram or even just a drawing or maybe a picture of one, and you can manufacture them. The trick is, if you get caught with them, you go to prison. So somebody is making them probably by the hundreds, if not the thousands. And they're selling them like hotcakes. What, for $100, $200? I don't know, Dan. But if you had a Glock and you were a criminal, you were some punk kid or some punk gangsta, and you wanted to have a full auto machine pistol out of your Glock, you plop down a couple $100. It just takes one guy in the gang to figure out how to knock a few pins out and put in the pieces, and you're good. Now you're a gangsta, right? I mean, look, if you're standing in front of somebody 10 feet away and they've got a full auto machine pistol, you're going to get hit, right? You're going to get hit. But by how many? You see, listen, folks, I don't sweat these criminals if they manage to get a full auto weapon, because there's a thing called a barrel rise. When you fire a full auto gun, boom, they kick, right? So boom, 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 boom. The first two shots maybe are at the appropriate level. Say they're shooting at chest level. Everything after that goes above your head and away. And a pistol is even more dramatic, right? A long barrel. Out here's the end of the barrel. Here's where you're pulling the trigger, right? Long barrel, you have more leverage to hold it down and keep yourself on target in full auto. With a pistol, it's very short, so it pivots real fast. So let them have their Glocks with switches and go full auto. Have at it. Waste your ammo. Basically, you're letting everyone know that there's a knucklehead with that. Me, I prefer semi-auto, and that's really all there is to it. Full auto is for cover fire, suppression fire, or if you've got a trained machine gun crew that knows what they're doing and how to keep on target, you're good. But anyways, I'd like to know. I think that's the best we can come up with, Mr. Dan. Anyways, thank you again for the great support you show every single week, Dan. Semper Fi, brother, and let's continue. Uman does have something to say here. And he says they put the two guys from CRS Firearms in jail for selling metal auto key cards, which you could cut out and install. Whoops. Right. So the piece sounds like it's metal. Listen, if you have the part is considered the illegal item. It's considered literally, it's a part, it's a firearm part. Even if it's not in the gun, it's still illegal. Still illegal. I personally don't agree with it. I do think that firearms that are full auto are more dangerous only for the fact that the people operating them in full auto as criminals don't understand firearms and are just throwing bullets everywhere, and other people, the potentials of them getting, killed go up. For example, in the great city of Chicago, how many people fire off firearms every weekend? How many people get shot every weekend? And how many people die every single weekend and also during the week in Chicago? And the people who are hit with errant bullets, children, grandmothers and grandfathers, the innocent, it's because it's cool to do a drive-by with a full auto weapon, according to the bad guys. That's what they think. It's just cool, right? Hold your gun this way. Fucking morons. Good. That the more gangsta, the more ghetto, the happier I am about it, because good people in times of crisis, SHTF, the odds of them getting hit is down quite a bit. And the odds of those same people using self-defense return fire will protect those around them. Those times are coming, folks. I really believe that as we get closer to the election, more violence is coming. What do you think? Hit that super chat button up there or the one down below and let us know what you think. Is the violence going to increase? Who, if the violence increases, is going to be committing the acts of violence? Will Kamala Harris tell them stop it? Or will she, like she did in 2020, encourage more violence and assist in raising funds to release violent, murderous, arsonist killers, protesters, if you want? That's what Kamala did in 2020, and the media is trying to cover it up and hide it and suppress it and get it off the internet. Fact is, she did. She encouraged violence. She encouraged murder. She encouraged arson. She encouraged looting. She encouraged people to give money to organizations to bail them out of jail so they could return to the scenes of their crimes and continue to do that, as well as assault, injure, and murder policemen. You bet, folks. You bet they did. Kamala Harris is a complete sack of shit. So here we are. What do you think is coming? What kind of violence? Who's it going to come from? This is your show, folks. Your show. You tell me what you think. And I'll tell you what I think. Always, always, always. Now, when I say violence, what kind of violence are we talking about? Well, domestic terrorism, right? Domestic terrorism. Well, get this, folks. In Maryland, a collegiate university professor wrote an article, and she had this, folks. She said that black people wish the assassin, Mr. Crooks, or shall I say failed assassin, they wish he had killed Trump. Okay, so a professor from a college who's black suggests that black people wish the shooter had killed Trump. I'd like to know how she figured this out about black people. Did she take a poll? Did she talk to hundreds of black people? Because in my way of thinking, it's shocking to me that any single black Democrat can claim to speak for black people at large in general, as if these black people are individuals incapable of their own thoughts. Once again, it's insulting to black people to put them into this anti-Trump, right? Remember Joe Biden, though, he let us all know, if you don't vote Joe Biden, if you don't vote Democrat, you ain't black. Why is it that these people all think they can speak for the entire black demographic in America? It is just unbelievable, folks. Shocking. Shocking to me. What it does, though, is it suggests to all these people, especially the youths, that you're not supposed to like Trump, that you don't like Republicans, and for the racists, that you should hate and want to kill white people. That's what they continue to suggest, violence. So is there going to be a huge, shall we say, Black Lives Matter violence coming? Is it coming? Right? They're continuing on the internet, by the way, on Twitter, to call for violence. They're continuing to do that. It is incredible to me that they're allowing this. And what do I mean by allowing? Well, there's a woman, let's see, I think she's in Kentucky or Tennessee. Someone help me out here. Kentucky or Tennessee posted a picture of a little white blanket with hearts on it and a hand and a gun, a pistol. And she said that it's her turn next and she's not going to miss when Trump comes to her state and her town. Who do these people think they are? That they can just make these threats and get away with it? I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is we are now up to 320 people live and going up. Good news. Good news and good news. Hit the thumbs up. Let's get more people here because people, Americans, indeed people around the world need to wake the hell up for what is happening. What is happening? We're going to continue to be lied to, folks. My governor here in the great state of Florida says, you are in for 100 days of massive gaslighting from the corporate press. That's Governor DeSantis, right? He's saying that the media, mainstream media, is going to run cover for Camel Toes Harris. And if you mispronounce Kamala's name, Kamala, then you are a racist. Remember that. That's a hate crime if you mispronounce Camel Toes Kamala Harris's name. And as far as what Governor DeSantis says, I couldn't have said it better, but I think I'll say it in many different ways. He says you're in for 100 days of massive gaslighting from the corporate press. I'll tell you and me and everybody that we're in for 100 days of massive increases in threats and the potentials for violence as we get closer to the election. And not just from the corporate press, but they're going to encourage it. Remember, they're the ones that filmed fiery arson of cars, homes, businesses, and even police stations in 2020 and called it mostly peaceful protesting. Talk about gaslighting, right? Gaslighting is lying to your face, obviously lying to your face, but continuing to tell the lie and demand that you believe them, or you're the crazy one. You're the dumb one. You're the ignorant one. Gaslighting is lying to you and expecting you to believe it. Right? That's what people with narcissistic personality disorder do to their friends, their loved ones, their families. They lie to their faces and say, you don't believe me? You're crazy. I'll tell you what, if you don't believe me, you may not be crazy. So I invite you to look up the facts. Look up the facts, like the mainstream media is trying to cover for Kamala Harris. They're trying to cover and say, wow, she wasn't the border czar. Right? It's all over media. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Meta, everywhere. But people took the screenshots from Kamala Harris and everything she said, right? Joe Biden introduced her and said that's her job. She talked about, well, we haven't been to the border. She did an interview with Lester Holt of NBC News, where she denied being there as the border czar and that it was her responsibility and she was going to go there, but she hadn't been there. And by the way, she never did. But she's still the border czar. She hasn't given that up. She hasn't said, well, I'm no longer the border czar. Well, if you were the border czar and you were appointed that and you haven't given it up, then you're still the border czar. So where is our border czar, Camel Toes Harris? The reason I ask that is there were 3 Palestinian terrorists who crossed into our southern border and got caught. They crossed illegally. Of course. Why bother being legal when Kamala Harris, the border czar, says, come on in? They even have an app you can put on your phone to fast track you across the border illegally and get you the assistance that you want, which is credit cards, cash, food, clothing, housing, transportation. And Kamala is ruined, as far as I'm concerned, over this one topic. The border czar. She is responsible and shares in the responsibility. And I'm glad. I thank God we have the internet, folks. Right? We have become our own allies, our own media. We put together networks of, well, patriotic Americans. Now, of course, the internet and social media is also used by the evil Antifa, the evil BLM, the evil ham-ass supporters, right? They do that, folks. They use it too, but we are as well. It's funny, though. That's why they're shutting us down and continue to try. And it is your support, folks. Sunday Night Live, super chat button that keeps us on the air. Otherwise, shit, I might be serving coffee Sunday nights at a frickin' Starbucks trying to pay my bills. Damn good coffee. Thank you, cafefe.com. And I am wide awake. Where's that border czar? She won't accept responsibility, right? They're going to try and downplay that. And she opened her campaigning on RuPaul's drag show. No, it wasn't about drag racing cars. It's about men who dress like over-sexualized, freakish whores, trannies, and drag queens. That's what that was about. That's where she introduced herself. This weekend, while Trump was having a sold-out, super amazing, incredible rally in Minnesota, Kamala Harris held her event, I believe somewhere in New York, and she managed to get 68 people to show up. 68 people. And we're supposed to believe that bullshit from the media? That's right. There's a pile of steaming bullshit right there from the left. Supposed to believe that Kamala is neck and neck, that Kamala's pulled ahead of Trump already. She can't get 100 people to show up and congratulate her for anything. In any event, folks, there is a lot more to talk about. Tons to talk about. We're 45 minutes into the show. We're going to go 2 hours or more. We're over 300 people live, and I want you to share the internet address right up there. And Jolene says we've got some people with some things to say. So let's have another super chat, question, comment, etc. And it's Dan Erickson back again with a $5 super chat donation. And he says, there are rumors that your buddy Pete Buttigieg is on her VP list. Well. There's rumors, yeah. Pete Buttigieg. That's what President Biden called him. Pete Buttgagger. Pete Buttigieg. What a dumb name. Change your name, man. But the guy's last name starts with But here's the issue. The three that I've heard mentioned today, Dan, the three vice presidential nominees that are being aired by Camel Toes Harris are three white men who are not gay. I don't think this is going to go well with the LGBTQIA plus minor attracted persons fruitcake crowd, because Kamala Harris isn't gay. No. She likes dick, and a lot of it. So she picks white men as running mates or running mate potentials and not gay. So I don't know. Maybe she put Petey, little Petey, right? Peter. That's it. I'm going to call him Peter Butt. It's kind of like Peter Pan, but he's Peter Butt. That's it. I coined it. Peter Butt. He's been the transportation secretary under Biden. He doesn't know a thing about fucking transportation. Anyways, I don't know, Dan. It's very possible that he's going to be picked. He was, in 2020, part of the list. He was on the panel of Democrat primary candidates, and people were more excited about him than Kamala, but not excited enough. He didn't make it. That stalwart of brilliance, Joe Biden, beat out both of them. Wow. Just wow. Thank you, Dan, very much. What do you want to talk about, folks? Super chat donation button up there. We'll get you on the screen down here. We'll make you famous. What do you want to talk about, Jolene? We have another one up there, and it is Boomer out of Canada with a $20 super chat donation. You hit that button, and how about that? So Boomer says they just arrested Tommy Robinson again for speaking the truth. Tommy Robinson also apparently aired a documentary, a film, with people expressing their opinions. How dare you, Tommy Robinson? Tommy Robinson is British, folks. He's in jolly old England. Jolly old England. And he's been arrested multiple times. They've tried throwing him in prison for inciting intelligent thought, for refusing to follow not the law, but the road to death, right? He's resisting this push to destroy England with immigrants from other countries who don't want to speak English, don't want to follow English law, want to, rape women, bring in Sharia law, kill anyone that they feel insults them. They want to make England a Muslim country. Well, the British have had enough of it, folks. And this weekend, with Tommy Robinson participating, the English rose up by the tens of thousands. They've had enough bullshit, folks. And they're marching. They're marching through the streets, demanding reform from the government and to knock off this bullshit. England, as well as the rest of Europe, have told their people, you're having too many kids, there's too much population here, the world is going to explode, global warming, ice caps melting, polar bears, penguins living together, it's awful. And so they make it so expensive through taxation, regulation, and healthcare that white European people aren't having children. So they invite in all the Muslims, and they're freaking screwing like rabbits, and they're going to outbreed and take over Europe. The Muslims know what they're doing, folks, but the British have had it. British, and indeed all of Europe, is white culture, white European culture. Should other cultures be allowed to live there? I don't know. That's their country and their decision. Are there black people? Are there brown people? Are there Asian people? Yes, they are. But they should, in my opinion, obey the law, speak the language, learn the customs, period. Now, to give you an example of another country that's had enough of this shit, and I'll get back to the rest of your stuff, Boomer, here in a second, that in Germany, there was a man sitting in a restaurant, right, outside cafe wearing a Palestinian flag shirt. Police showed up, drug his ass out of the restaurant, and I don't know if they arrested him or not, but they drug him out of the restaurant because you're not allowed to promote violence. And the Palestinian flag, and maybe this guy's words, maybe he was threatening people. But people have had enough of this shit. They've had enough. All right, so Boomer continues about Tommy Robinson. It said they just arrested Tommy again for speaking the truth. They had the LBQTQ mocking Christ. Right? That's right. The LGB freaks, they're going to mock Christ at the Olympics. And Trump only got hit by shrapnel, according to the FBI. Think I want to vomit. It's very upsetting, right? It's nauseating to read the mainstream media and their opinions and what they're putting on their channels. That's why no one believes it. We don't believe the government, whether it's the American government or the Canadian government or the British government. We don't believe them. We don't believe the FBI. Why should we? We don't believe these left-wing fruits are trustworthy, right? Because they mock Christ, they mock Christianity, they mock our culture, our traditions, our laws, right? It's incredible. They mock it all. You give them a little teeny bit and they take more. We just want to be accepted and come out of the closet. Okay, fine. We just want to get married and be with each other. Okay, fine. We want to adopt children. Okay, fine. Now what are they doing? Right? We get freaky fruitcake, fruit salad shooting, felching. I almost said the F word. FAOTS. With their nuts hanging out of their shorts. Literally. A guy who is a little limp-wristed at the Olympic opening, had his nuts outside of his shorts, prancing around. That's who these people are, folks. That's who the government is. That's who the media is. That's who we are up against. Okay, it's not a simple battle for you and me. It's not a simple battle, right? We have it in our lives with our family, our coworkers, our neighbors, right? 4 out of 10 people in your neighborhood are probably Democrats. Probably Democrats. Even in California, where I came from, which was extremely Trump country, way north of Sacramento in the Bay Area, up by Mount Shasta, still 4 in 10 are Democrats, and they support fruitcakes, lying, cheating, stealing, fucking our country up, destroying the military, grooming children for sex. They're all around us. But not only do we have to deal with that, right? Our families, our work, our neighbors and communities, we have to deal with the United States government. We have to deal with the mainstream media. We have to deal with the Hollywood elites. We have to deal with college morons, the entire education system, the destruction of the military, the Attorney General's office declaring that parents are terrorists, domestic terrorists, for wanting to stop their kids from reading homosexual propaganda with cartoons of boys giving blowjobs to old men. That's what these people are about. So when Boomer says, think I want to vomit, I get it and I understand it. But see, we're not fighting one group, folks. It's not just the Palestinian and Hamas terror supporters. It's Antifa, it's BLM, and it's the FBI, and it's state troopers and city police where they still support this left-wing shit. Oh, it's there. It's absolutely there. Thank you, Boomer. Unbelievably crazy. It just is. Totally crazy. This is Sunday Night Live, folks. And what I want to tell you is there's a super chat button up there. If you want to be on the screen like Boomer here, all you got to do is hit that button and keep us rolling. Keep us rolling very quickly. I wanted to let everyone know that the World Economic Forum, their agenda is failing. Their Bugs for Food program is failing. It's not a conspiracy. Remember when we were told it was a conspiracy theory? And yes, Rick in Texas, my electrician, he says, we need conspiracy theories because they're the closest thing we have to truth, fact, and figuring out what the hell is going on, right? We were told that the World Economic Forum and their push to replace food with bugs was a conspiracy theory. And then, bugs started showing up on the shelves as protein substitutes, being mixed with granola and other foodstuffs. Well, it's failing. And it's not a conspiracy theory. People are saying, we don't want to eat bugs. We're not going to buy this shit, right? So you and me, we need to be loud. We need to expose their agenda. We need to expose their agenda, and we need to encourage our friends, our family, and even our coworkers to get loud about opposing this shit, to stop being afraid. We need to stop being afraid. I'm going to give you some great examples while we're waiting for some super chats to roll in. Jolene tells me we've got more, and apparently they are good ones. But examples of being brave. Remember that store? Thank you, Jolene. That store up in New Jersey, they called it Let's Go Brandon. That was the name of the store. Because after the NASCAR race where people were shouting, fuck Joe Biden, a guy named Brandon won the race. And so on the track interview with the lady, she's got the microphone. And she's like, oh my gosh, we can hear them. They're happy you won. They're chanting, let's go Brandon. So we just took that and ran with it. Okay, fuck Joe Biden means let's go Brandon. So a store opened up. That's the name of the store, right? Let's go Brandon. And they were selling anti-Biden, pro-Trump paraphernalia. Well, these people are sharp. And now that Brandon has dropped out and Kamala, Camel Toes, is in, they immediately changed their name to Let's Go Brenda. And merchandise is flying off the shelf, right? Merchandise is roasting Kamala Harris, from the shirt where her face is painted like the Joker, and it says that Marvel Comics or DC Comics has a new villain called the Giggler, right? And there's a couple of other, Kamala the Joker. But, and they said coming soon, very soon, they're going to have fuck Kamala Harris flags. So all the fuck Joe Biden flags out there, they're going to be replaced. The Let's Go Brandon, Let's Go Brenda store, they're brave, folks. They're not afraid. And I want to give you one more example before we get to more super chat donations. Is Trump has said he is going to hold another rally in Pennsylvania, but not just anywhere in Pennsylvania. He's going to hold his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, the same place, folks, the same place that they took a shot at him, that the left, the would-be assassin, the Secret Service, the FBI, all failed President Trump, and a shot was taken. Bystanders, supporters of Trump were hit by bullets and injured. One man killed. He's going back to Butler, Pennsylvania, folks. This is incredible. Oh, I mean, especially considering how many slopey roofs there are there. We all need to volunteer, I think, to help. The Secret Service may need our help. In fact, Trump has said he's going back. He's going to start doing outdoor rallies. Never mind this indoor only. He wants more people. He's not afraid, folks. Right? Talk about brave. Talk about being a leader. Talk about being out front. Not being afraid to pick on these people, whether they're LGB fruitcakes or communist Democrats or arsonist BLMers or any of the left. Right? Trump is not afraid. Me and you, shouldn't be afraid either. He's literally putting his life on the line by appearing publicly and showing the world that they shouldn't. We shouldn't be afraid. If he can stand out there and say what he says about Christopher Wray, he made fun of him for finally apologizing about saying that he wasn't shot, right? To Kamala Harris, to Joe Biden, to the losers around the world, Trump is after him, right? He's pointing it out. We should be there as well, folks. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Jolene, let's do this. Let's have, shall we say, some fun. Let's do some super chat donations. And we have, who's next? Holy shit, it's Soft Kitty with a $100 super chat donation. And I think that was for the Kraken, the last shot that I've got here. And this is limited edition Black Roast Coffee Rum. And let's pour it off and down the hatch. Good to the last drop. Didn't they used to say that about Maxwell House? Good to the last drop. I'm not going to put it in my coffee, though. I'm going to do this shot, and who knows, folks? Who knows? Here we go. Thank you, Soft Kitty, for the great super chat support. Here we are. I got to smell it again. This smells so good, man. It smells like, it smells good. Oh, man. Woo! Release the Kraken. Thank you, Soft Kitty. Woo! Wide awake and drunk, my friends. Let's roll. All right. Does Soft Kitty have anything to say? She says, John, you look thirsty. Did you know there was a 5-sniper shooter at that Trump rally? They were in the stands. We are under 100 days before the next election selection for Kamala Harris's side. Are we really ready? Ooh, Soft Kitty, really ready for what they have planned? It could be EMP, World War III, no more banking system to buy supplies. John, your thoughts on this, Soft Kitty? I was thirsty. I have to admit it. I was very thirsty. Thank you. Are we really ready? This is a question we need to ask ourselves. Are we really ready for what they, the Democrats, they, the World Economic Forum, they, the deep state, and their agents and agencies and agents provocateur, are we ready for the non-governmental entities, organizations, the NGOs that are sending money over here? That's right, folks. Alex Soros, son of George Soros, international criminal terrorist supporter, in my opinion, giving money, supporting Kamala Harris. Are we ready? The answer is we better be, damn it. Right? Electromagnetic pulse weapon can take out computers, cell phones, the internet, our electric grids, gas stations. It could take out our businesses. We saw just last week what happens when Microsoft went down. Absolutely. How about World War III? That could happen very, very quickly. The British said, hey, Ukraine, use our weapons to fire into Russia. And then they said, no, we didn't say that. We may have done it, but we didn't say that. Right? What happens? What happens if Ukraine uses British or American weapons on Russia? What happens if someone gets a tactical nuclear weapon and fires it into Russia? What happens if somebody like Hezbollah attacks Israel to such a degree, like maybe, shall we say, shooting a massive missile into government buildings? Will Israel retaliate with nuclear weapons against Tehran, Iran? Tehran is the capital of Iran. Regardless of who shot the missile, whether it's Hezbollah or ISIS or Al-Qaeda or Hamas or the Palestinian Liberation Organization, who cares, right? Who fired it? Israel could respond. Now, a lot of people are saying that Israel has grand plans to invade Lebanon. Now, are they in Lebanon to kill Hezbollah and terrorists? Or are they in Lebanon because they've decided or thought maybe it's a good idea to annex it? In other words, claim Lebanon as their own territory. And Turkey and Syria and Georgia and Turkmenistan and Jordan and Saudi Arabia and Egypt and Libya, right? There's these claims out there that that's what Israel wants to do. And there's also claims that if, Israel goes after Hezbollah, that Israel will be wiped out, period. What I have to say is we heard those threats about Hezbollah. We heard those thoughts about Hezbollah when Israel said they were going to punish and destroy Hamas. And they have done it, folks. They turned Gaza, which was basically a third world shithole, into Gaza. It looks like it was hit by an earthquake, then a fire, and then a bunch of bombs. Because instead of spending money on, let's just say, education, food, healthcare for the people of Gaza, Hamas and the PLO spent money buying weapons and digging tunnels under the city through which they could hide their freedom fighters, their anti-Israel terrorists. Now, I got to tell you, folks, when I watch interviews from non-Israelis, from the Palestinians, those people are full of incredible amounts of hate, hateful thoughts, and beliefs. And I get it. You're enemies. Fine. Well, if you're enemies, then expect to be killed in war. I've seen videos of Muslim mothers telling their kids that they need to become suicide bombers. and celebrating murder of children, celebrating murder of Israelis, and then children being dressed up with bomb vests. The Palestinians put their children in bomb vests and march them in parades and talk about how glorious it is to be a martyr, to kill yourself in order to kill the enemy. Truly, folks, they do this to children, and the women love this. So when they say Israel is killing women and children and it's wrong, good golly, what is going on? So when you soft kitties say we could get an EMP here in America, we could get World War III in the Middle East, which could expand to other parts of the world, including the United States of America. Right? How about banking system failures? That would be cyber attacks. Cyber attacks. We had one last week, right? Microsoft went down. Operating systems went down. There was huge internet problems going down. The area in Florida where I'm at, or near to where I'm at, was hit pretty hard. And it reached out and touched me. I had a hard time getting Zero Dark 30 videos out because I had spotty, if any, internet. So are we really ready? Asked Soft Kitty. That means you need to be ready ahead of time. No money, no cash, no banking, no computers. You're not buying shit. So you should have months worth of food. Right now we get into the essence of being prepared. Right? The fruit salad people, they're prepared with lots of KY jelly and duct tape to tape their buns together when they're done being butt pirates. Right? That's their idea of being ready. And knowing where the nearest clinic is so they can go get a shot for their monkeypox. For us, as patriotic Americans, we need to have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and a means of self-defense. Because if the power goes down, or we lose banking services, or we have a problem with terrorism, you can only rely on yourself. We have to rely on ourselves to help ourselves, our family, potentially your neighbors, potentially family that live around you or near you. You should be prepared with a plan, whether your plan is bugging out, your plan is bunkering in. How are you going to deal with the people around you? Can you communicate with your neighbors? Do you know the Republicans around you? Do you understand who's a Democrat around you? Now, nobody puts out Harris booty juice signs. No one's putting those signs out. So I recommend doing this. I have a recommendation for everyone in the neighborhood so you know who is surrounding you. Are you ready for this? Please pay close attention. If people are Trump supporters, they will not object to you putting not Trump signs in their yard, but American flags. Go to your neighbors and say, man, I love America. I just want to put flags in everyone's yard so our neighborhood is patriotic. Democrats hate the American flag, right? If you put Trump signs in people's yards, they'd probably go, I love Trump. I'm supporting Trump. I'm voting for Trump, but, and maybe they'd tell you this. You knock on their door. Follow me here. Plan. This is how you can protect your neighborhood and yourself. Hi, it's me, your neighbor, Mark Smith. I just wanted to give you an American flag or get permission from you to put the American flag in your yard because I'm feeling extra patriotic and I think voting is super important this year. If they tell you, I hate Trump, I hate America, right? Or I'm a Democrat, whatever, they'll tell you right then, make a note. Make a note. Go through your neighborhood, folks, and find out who the Democrats are and who the Republicans are. If you talk to a neighbor who says, yeah, I'll take one of those flags, put them down. That's a good neighbor. People that are wishy-washy, put them down as a moderate. People that deny you the flag and say, no, I'm a Kamala supporter, et cetera, right? I hate Trump. I'm a Kamala supporter. I'm a never Trumper. Well, I'm independent. Put them down as Democrats. Know who your neighbors are. This is a great way to find out. Make it sound like you're a patriotic American guy or girl, which you are. Get some inexpensive American flags on a stick and just say, I'd like to put some American flags in your lawn, in your flower bed, by your street address, right? I want to dress up the street with flags. You'll find out who your enemies are just like that. You want to know who's dangerous in your neighborhood? Just like that. Want to find out who your allies are in your neighborhood? Just like that. The only downside to this is they will all know who you are, that you support the American flag, that you like President Trump, that you're a Republican. There you go. You don't have to say you're a prepper, but you need to be ready. And being ready is understanding your neighborhood. Anyone can go buy food, get 3 months or more, folks. Water filtration, water sanitation, right? Clothing, having what you need to deal with any potential problems. Food, shelter, right? Water, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. A big part of our self-defense is your plan. Part of your plan should be figure out who your neighbors are. We just talked about a great way to do that. Thank you, and shop for your preps at the club, thepreparedmind.club. It's our store. Prepper items. What do you need? All those items. Find out what we've got, links to it. Hey, folks, it's going to be serious if things go the way Soft Kitty's asking. And we've talked about this, well, on this channel for more than 10 years now. For more than 10 years, we've been saying shit is coming. And it happened with COVID crap. And they pushed, folks, the White House itself. That's right, the White House, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. The White House told everyone, if you don't get vaccinated, then too bad. You're going to die, right? You're going to suffer. You were told, you were warned, and it is almost laughing at everyone. You didn't get vaccinated, so you're going to overrun the hospitals with sickness, and you're going to kill you and your family. That's the type of bullshit we've been putting up with. On top of all of the, well, we're coming for your children, as the FA at OTSs sang in a song. That's right. All of the queer men in San Francisco had their queer chorus, their queer choir, rather, where they sang the "We're Coming for Your Children" song. As a joke, they said. And less than a year later, all the drag queen story hours shit started. And we're still fighting it, and we're going to fight it. This is what's happening. Thank you, Soft Kitty, for the great chat. And I hope that the answer sufficed. We better be ready, because power goes out, banking system's done, World War III started. That's it. That's it. You won't have time to go buy everything you need, so get it now. Preparedmind.club. Okay, Jolene, the preparedmind.club is now replaced with another super chat donation, and it is our good friend Stephen Conlon from across the pond in jolly old England. And I'm glad you showed up, Stephen. God bless you, brother, with a 10-pound, not a euro, a 10-pound super chat donation. He says, wait and watch the English lion roar. Semper Fi, God bless the English. Right? Arresting Tommy. Tommy Robinson is the final straw. The people of England have had enough of this shit, and I support their rejection. The rejection from Downing Street, the rejection from Parliament, the rejection from all the leftist bullshit over there. Their country is being destroyed, folks. The anti-British immigrant population is marching and burning and destroying England and Europe. They now feel that they have enough of a significant population that's willing to be violent, and now the English have woken up, and they are pissed. They're done with it, folks. They're done with the, shall we say, child molestation, the rape, the destruction, the murder, the violence, the intimidation, the threats, the attempts to destroy the great nation of England and Scotland and Wales and Ireland, as well as the rest of the continent over there, Europe. Wait and watch, folks. Hide and watch. It's going to get ugly. We're going to find out how tough the immigrants are. Who are they? I want to remind you what they look like and how they think of us. This is them. This is the attitude. They are very, very, very aggressive. Folks, they're aggressive. And we're going to see violence because that is what they are promising, and that is what these uneducated, unskilled dregs of third world shithole nations, that's what they understand is violence. I don't want them to be stupid and ignorant and backwards assed, right? Believing in a religion that promises peace through murder, right? I don't wish for them to have that, but that's their mentality. That's the way they think, and that's they act, and those are the actions they're taking to try and destroy us. Stephen, I'm glad you're alive, brother. Glad you're alive. That is good. And yes, watch the English roar. I can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you, Stephen. And once more. Jolene, who is next? We have Dan Erickson back with a $10, another super chat donation, $10 this time. And he said, Brandon, meaning Biden's, build back better. That was his slogan. Trump said, make America great again. Biden said, build back better. Build what? What are they building? The gay movement? The anti-American movement? The replace Americans with illegals movement? Build back better. Better than what? Better than what? Mogadishu? Somalia? Yemen? Build back better than what? Palestine? Brandon's build back better failed because he was not thorough with his wrecking ball on America. I tell you what, Dan, I was under the belief that the more successful Brandon, Biden, and Kamala were, the more successful they are at destroying America, the more pissed off Americans would be about it. And they're going into the final innings. They're bringing out every destructive tool they have. That's what I believe they're doing. Every destructive tool they have. But guess what? Before Biden leaves the White House, before senile Biden, Parkinson's Biden, dementia Biden leaves, he is going to announce his plan to make incredibly un-American, unconstitutional changes to the Supreme Court of the United States. And he's going to do that this coming week. You're saying, Dan, and I agree with you, he's failed to destroy America, but he hasn't failed in taking the effort. They've destroyed portions of America, but they pissed us off and woke us up, just like over in England, they're waking up. Just like in Germany, they're waking up. And France and Italy and the Netherlands, they're waking up. But let me tell you about Biden's plans that he wants to bring into motion between now and the election and before they kick his grisly old fucked up ass out of Congress. What does he want to do? Right? He's got a last ditch, last end of his political life. This is his last ditch effort to destroy us, Dan. And he is going to try and pass off on America. Obama's overly destructive. Remember Obama's fundamentally change America? That is actually a destructive takeover of America. That's what Biden is going to try in the last few months of his presidency. According to Politico, folks, which is a left-wing, communist piece of shit, pro-Democrat, destroy America organization. According to Politico, Biden's plan is likely to include term limits for Supreme Court justices. And he wants an enforceable code of ethics for the Supreme Court justices. And he also wants to pass a constitutional amendment to limit presidential immunity. Unfucking believable, folks. Now, again, this is Politico. This proposed amendment comes in response to the Supreme Court's July ruling that protects presidents from prosecution for their official acts, their constitutionally authorized official acts during their presidency. A decision involving, right, President Trump. Former President Trump was attacked by Democrats, by partisans within the Department of Justice and the Attorney General's office, in collusion and collaboration with the White House, state attorney generals, district attorneys in cities. This was a coordinated attack against President Trump. And so I'm going to tell you that you and me, we all need to continue to write, call, email, message Congress and tell them this. Here's my quote. No way will we accept this trashing of our republic by the government. Now, let me back up here and go over the things that Biden wants to do to you by controlling, thank you, Jolene, by controlling both the president and the Supreme Court, right? Term limits for justices. Excuse me? Federal judges, not Supreme Court, just regular federal judges, they get lifelong terms. Literally, folks, what difference does it make if a judge is in there for 8 years or 12 years or 20 years? Aren't they the same judge? What they want is an opportunity, right, to kick justices off the bench. They know they can't load the bench. People aren't going to buy that shit. It's not going to work. But they want term limits for justices so that they can rotate out the ones they don't like. This is incredible, folks. Now, I think that would cut both ways. Not the smartest thing, but they're going to do what they can. They want to try and get you, America, to accept an idea, the notion that the Supreme Court is out of control. So they're putting in an enforceable code of ethics. What is this code of ethics going to include? Lying? Well, then we need to get rid of the president and all of Congress, don't we? Bye, Biden. Bye, Kamala. You're fucking liars. How about the Senate? How about all the Congress people like, I don't know, Adam Schiff? Shifty, I shit my pants, Adam Schiff. Lied to America, the entire world, about President Trump and Russia collusion. Lied, and then brought more lies. Using the FBI's bullshit story. The Steele dossier, which was paid for by Hillary Clinton. Talk about someone who needs to be expelled from Congress. But they want to expel and punish Supreme Court justices. Now, the enforceable code of ethics. See, if they get that power and authority, they can hold that over the heads of Republican justices and threaten them. Hey, you better rule on this the right way or we're going to get you. We're going to throw you out of office. They can threaten them. So term limits and an enforceable code of ethics, bullshit attempts at control. And this idea that they want a constitutional amendment to limit presidential immunity. How can the Constitution both authorize the president to take action and then say you've got no immunity for doing your fucking job that you've been authorized to do? It is contradictory. It's contradictory. How can you do both? How can you do either? By the way, a constitutional amendment requires a supermajority. In other words, 66 or more senators have to agree with the amendment. There is no way in hell Republicans are going to vote for that because it makes no fucking sense. It is beyond retarded. But that's what Biden's going to come out, and they'll try and push for it. Again, they want the idea that Republican presidents shouldn't be immune from, shall we say, salacious prosecution by the government. In other words, they want to make the president, after he's out of his office, beholden to the next Democrat. Hey, yeah, you've got no immunity. We're going to come after you 1 year later, 5 years later, 10 years later. It doesn't matter. You see, what does that do? That chills the office of the president. He's not going to do his fucking job because he can be prosecuted. How about this? How about we try it out on Biden and Kamala and we prosecute them for failure to do their jobs, for living up to their oaths, holding them accountable for their violations and treason. That, my friends, you are not immune from. Treason and criminal failure to do your job that has resulted in the death of Americans, the destruction of our country, the invasion of our country, etc. We better pay attention. Dan, thank you very much. And Newman says Biden doesn't need presidential immunity because he'll be dead by the time anything against him finally goes to trial. Brilliant, Mr. Uman. But he's going to introduce these concepts. How retarded is that? Oh, it's extremely retarded. But what they're trying to do is cast dispersion, cast clouds of doubt on the Supreme Court of the United States. The branches are supposed to be both separate and equal. So the legislature is controlled by the Constitution and limited by the Constitution. The president is controlled by the Constitution and limited by the Constitution. And the Supreme Court is controlled and authorized by the Constitution and limited by the Constitution. So if they pass, get this, imagine if they passed in Congress a constitutional amendment to control the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court would look at it and go, that's unconstitutional. You see how this works? It's not a law if it's ruled unconstitutional. Fucking ridiculous. All right, let's do this. Let's move on if we shall. Things are getting quacky out there in the world of Democrats, but it's 2024. And parents are domestic terrorists. And drag queens are fucking heroes. Fucking facepalm and a half. Jolene, who's up next? Super chats. We got Dan Erickson with a $50 super chat donation. And he says, you need a Glenlivet to wash that coffee drink down, I think. And I'm going to have to agree with you, Dan. I tell you, man, I'm telling you, they're going to lie, cheat, and steal, make up shit. And oops, I poured that one a little tall, Dan. But then again, you've done several super chats tonight. I'll take it. The Democrats are proposing the most radical, un-American, unconstitutional shit ever. Don't tell me they're not nuts and they're trying to take over this country. Down the hatch and down with communism. Salut, semper fi, always faithful to country, Constitution, and people who love freedom. Like mother's milk. Good golly. Thank you, Mr. Erickson, for that. I mean, what do you think? These people are that crazy, Dan. They're that freaking crazy. I mean, all of Washington, D.C. All of Washington, D.C. I mean, the CIA. They have addressed the accusations that this is the terrorist, wannabe assassin, Thomas Matthew Crooks. People have been accusing the CIA of using their MK Ultra mind control program, and that's how they got Thomas Matthew Crooks to go up on that roof and get himself shot. And I tell you what, folks, well, the potential is so strong that this could be part of the case. MK Ultra from the CIA, or even MK Ultra from the FBI. The belief that kind of stupidity, the ability to control someone who's not quite right in the head, is so strong that, well, they couldn't just, the CIA, say, you know what, that's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, we're actually not going to comment at all. But the potential is so strong that the CIA did address the topic and idea that their MK Ultra mind control could be being used for would-be assassins. Instead of ignoring it, they addressed it, which I think lends credibility to the idea that it is true, or very potentially true. They've got their backs against the wall, folks. The CIA and the FBI, the Department of Justice, and the Attorney General's office. I think they're all in collusion with the White House, the deep state, the international banking cartels. I'm telling you, Dan, I'm telling you, man, the entire Washington, D.C. system is being exposed, and they're all embarrassed and running away. No. That's ridiculous that we would use MK Ultra to try and assassinate President Trump. Oh, really? Then what do you use mind control for, CIA? You developed that program decades ago, 50 years ago. And could it still be being used if you found a way to control people through the use of drugs, traumatizing the mind, and, of course, hypnosis? And it was demonstrated, folks. It was demonstrated that it can be done. A very popular English actor, Mr. Fry, attended a theatrical presentation. And what they were testing, though, was to see if someone on the stage could be taken ahead of time. And they admitted that this person agreed to be part of this experiment. They used mind control and hypnosis to convince this guy that when they said a specific line, he was to reach for the gun, that they would program him to know where it was at, pick the gun up and aim it at Mr. Fry, the actor, and shoot him. This is the same guy. He was in IQ, the little love story. He was the scientific dumbass husband. He was also in the Sherlock Holmes movies as Sherlock Holmes's brother. Okay, that guy. So the man went on to do the play. And remember, this wasn't the CIA that programmed this guy. It was basically rank amateurs brainwashing him and using hypnotic control. They said the words, he picked the gun up and shot at Mr. Fry, not knowing the gun was fake. It's real. It's real. Mind control is real. And the CIA knows it. We know it. I know it. You know it. We all know it. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's real. It's absolutely real. So the potential is real. That's why we need to be ready up here, ready with our preps, and we need to be helping everyone understand. So share that internet address up there. We got lots more super chat donations. Let's do them. Jolene, who's next? We got Chin music in the house. I hope everything works out with all family members, Chin. Really, sincerely, honestly. Thank you for letting me know what's going on out there, brother. And good luck. He says, go check out what Destiny has been saying on her podcast. Destiny looks like a man and has a beard, but who knows the fruitcake, right? He says, check out what Destiny has been saying on her podcast about political violence. Why isn't Chris Wray all over him at his place with his little FBI flashlight? Investigating, right? Right? How hard would it be to shine the light of truth and figure out what Destiny is doing, right? By the way, this is a very powerful O-light, and I keep mine charged up, right? There's a little, and then there's a lot. 2 powers, folks. There's blind you and blind the fuck out of you. Anyways, that light of truth should be shined on Destiny. He's calling for political violence. Less than a week after Trump was shot at, Destiny has been out there ratcheting it up, saying, I'm not stopping. In fact, I'm going to increase it. That's paraphrasing. He should have FBI and all of his little limp-wristed, skinny jeans wearing fruitcakes over there arresting him for encouraging and inciting violence. I'm telling you, Chin, it ain't going to end good for these people. Go ahead and try it, leftists. Try me. Try me. Look, once you've been shot, folks, you realize it hurts really, really bad. Being shot at will scare the fuck out of you. Being hit really hurts. These people have no idea how many veterans are out here, how many Marine Corps and Army veterans there are, combat veterans who love this country, love America, love our Constitution, love the good people of this country, love Trump, understand the Declaration of Independence and are willing to defend. And you don't have to be a veteran. You don't have to be a combat vet. You could just be somebody who loves America, right? It's going to be game time. Thank you, Mr. Chin Music. Let's move on. Apparently, we got a lot of super chats zipping in here. Zippity-doo-dah. Who's next? Jolene. We got Boomer back again with another super chat donation. $20. Pow. He says, our great ancestors used to volunteer to fight under the sword in order to maintain freedom. No painkillers, folks. No penicillin. Okay, he says, we can sure use a few of them now. Well, folks, people used to volunteer. Sometimes they were conscripted by the government under king and for country. And they do it for a number of reasons, to go fight wars abroad or to defend ourselves at home. Fight wars abroad or defend ourselves at home. What do you need to defend yourself at home from? Enemies who are foreign, who have entered our countries and are violating the rights of people, stealing their property, committing acts of violence, violating and ignoring the law, and trying to destroy those countries. And so, yeah, people volunteered to get rid of him. That is changing, as Stephen Conlon brought up about England. We need to see the Canadians rise, except they've passed laws. You're not allowed to talk bad about our jihadi, anti-Canadian invaders. Invaders, right. Unbelievable. Wow. It's unbelievable, right? They pass laws to make it illegal to criticize the government or your invaders in England and Canada. In America, we give them a big fuck you. Free speech is free speech, and it means free speech, right? The freedom to speak about anything, because everything is politicized. Thank you, Boomer. We have those people. And they did so, as he's pointed out, decades, hundreds of years ago, when there were no painkillers, there was no penicillin, there was no doctors that knew what the hell they were doing, right? You get shot in the leg, they just saw it off. You get shot in the chest, you have to survive on your own. Period. Those were some tough men that volunteered and did that. And here we are today. So as part of your things you need, I always say medicine, right? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine. You need to have antibiotics because, right, it's no good getting hurt, injured, and unable to protect yourself and others. Thank you, Boomer. Let's move on. Jolene, who's next? We have Chin Music back again. Holy crap. With a $19.99 super chat donation. He said, oh, I almost forgot my recent liberal sock shirt episode. At the store yesterday, a guy asked me if I was concerned about negative reactions. Wearing a he wears shirts, folks. Very provocative, very, very political. And he does have one that just says liberals suck. So his response, I told him I'm trained enough that what he sees as a problem, I see as an opportunity. You see, people understand that Chin Music, he's an educator. He is. He educates people in the world of golf, in the world of jiu-jitsu, martial arts training, and he introduces and educates people to political thought. If you want to have an argument with him using violent terms, then he'll educate those people on what it means to fuck with somebody who strongly believes what they believe and are willing to defend themselves. Chin Music's not a bully, folks. He doesn't go out bullying people, but he does do things to provoke their thoughts. That's why he wears the provocative shirts. He wants to provoke thought. If he wears a shirt that says liberals suck, someone who doesn't know what a liberal might say, what is a liberal? Why do liberals suck, Mr. Chin Music? Please tell me. I need to understand. So he's out there helping educate people. And if there's a liberal that doesn't like that, then he may have to educate them about the penalty for getting in his face or for threatening him, or, God help the moron, if they try and commit an act of violence against Mr. Chin Music. Those days are going to become more common and more dangerous for everybody. Do I suggest that everyone do what Chin Music does? No, I do not. No, I do not. But I want you to understand, liberals see who you are, like it or not. I have an American flag outside my bunker. You may or may not know or understand where I'm at, but you definitely know that that's an American that lives there, right? Other people may be afraid of even doing that. My suggestion is you get prepared. You get prepared, and you be prepared for things to get nasty. And Chin, I'm really glad you educated this guy. He was probably afraid for you. Aren't you concerned about negative reactions? You showed him confidence, bravery, patriotism, and a little education by saying that you're trained enough that what most would see as a problem, you see as an opportunity to help idiots learn if they want to have a negative reaction. Not allowed to get away with it, being a loud Karen, a violent Karen, an idiotic moron, or maybe announcing their Antifa or BLM solidarity to you. That could be a problem for them. And of course, all of us need to be careful of being followed home by these left-wing lunatics, because they truly do want to attack you when you're unexpecting it or not expecting it, and when you might be off guard. But also at home, like here in the Prepared Mind Studios, within 6 feet circle of me, there are multiple weapons. And I have multiple freedom seeds, right? So attacking us at home, not so smart either, is it? Attacking us in our automobiles while we're walking around. One way or another, you need to be prepared and prepared. Thank you, Chin Music. Bam, appreciate it. Jolene, who's next? We're down to 12 minutes left, and we're ticking, and we got lots to discuss. Dan Erickson with a $10 super chat donation. He's back in the house. He says this: young kids, children, our own children and grandchildren, young children, kids, they're innocent. And this is what Dan says: I ever see some weirdo meaning LGBTQ fruitcake, whether they're nude, drag queen, whatever. I know what he's talking about. If I ever see some weirdo doing bad to them, I'm going to act. And we should. Children are innocent. They're incapable of protecting themselves against adults, especially those who are sneaky groomers, who are trying to sexualize children. That's awful. If I ever see some weirdo doing bad to them, I'm going to act. Dan, make sure you only act within the law. Capital L, capital A, capital W. There's a difference between statute and law. We all know what the law is. So again, I'm not going to recommend harmful or dangerous behavior or say do anything criminal or unlawful. I'm going to tell you, be within the law, brother. You know what it is. We all do. We all do. young children, the innocence they have. It eventually gets scrubbed anyway. As they become older and they look out past their home, their parents, even past their friends and neighborhood, they're going to see a wider world that's full of evil. And innocence slowly disappears. For now, though, while they're innocent, we should be protecting them, period. Thank you for your patriotism and your concern, Dan. And let us move on if we shall. We've got Steve Conlon with another 10-pound super chat donation. From jolly old England, Stephen says, I don't understand what these alphabet people have to be proud about. Pride marches? They should be ashamed. And that's exactly it. How can you be proud of cutting your dick off? How can you be proud of being anally rammed? It's disgusting. And they need more than just their own lives to be proud of. They need a day, a week. They need a parade. They need a month to be proud of that. The fact that they're sexual deviants, that they're absolutely disgusting, immoral freaks. Yeah, they're proud of it, Stephen. They want us to see it because they want to offend and upset us, right? They want us to use their pronouns. They want us to call them by fake made-up names. They want us to accept their mental illness, right? It's a disorder. Homosexuality is a mental disorder. Being a drag queen, a cross-dresser, is a mental disorder, period. The psychology books were written that way because that is a fact. You're not normal. And they say, well, we're going to normalize homosexuality. Well, wait a minute. If it's not normal, right, what does normalizing do? They want to normalize the abnormal. They want to normalize disorders, mental disorders. They want to normalize it. So now we have to accept it and say it. They should be ashamed. That's why homosexuals used to stay in the closet. That's why they were in the closet. You want to be gay? Fine. Be fine in your own little house, in your own little gay world, your own little LGBTQIA+. But they're trying to normalize being gay, normalize being trans, normalize being a drag queen, normalize being a pedophile by calling it a minor attracted person. Now, look, it is not normal. Anytime you say you need to normalize something, then that means it's not normal. And isn't it funny also, or rather disgusting, that they look at normal people like us, me and you, and call us normies as if it's a pejorative term, a negative thing to be normal. But then they say we want to normalize us. Are we saying that the LGBTQIA+ crowd, they want to be normies? I thought normies were bad. Normies were evil. Normies are stupid. Normies are bigots. Unbelievable. Yeah, pride marches. Pride marches used to be homosexuals walking down the street, waving little flags. Yay, we're gay and no one's shooting us. Yay, we're gay. We're not being thrown off buildings by Muslims in foreign countries. Yay. Now, pride parades is wearing assless chaps and walking around with your dick hanging out in public in front of children. I'm glad, Stephen, I've seen videos from over in Ireland, Scotland, and England where people on the street see these fruitcakes running around, or rather biking around nude, exposing themselves and getting the shit beat out of them. I applaud them for protecting children and women and decent people from a bunch of abject, perverted freaks. They need to be stopped. They need to be arrested. They need to be thrown in jail, right? And then they can have all of the butt piracy they want in jail, right? I am not encouraging people to be violent, but I'm saying I like seeing people brought to justice, period. Thank you, Mr. Conlon. I appreciate it. Be very safe out there in your travels, my friend. We used to think of the English kind of like we think of the Canadians, very polite. English will debate and talk and argue endlessly and incessantly about their beliefs. You can argue with them, for them. You can ask them to argue. You can just talk to them and go, explain to me your thoughts. And the English love to do that, right? These alphabet people, as you describe them, they won't argue. They just want to get violent. And look at what we have around us, right? Well, I mean, Joy Behar of The View says that young white males who buy 50 rounds of ammo need to be reported. I don't see any young white males becoming mass murderers unless they're liberal Democrats or trannies, right? All the trans girls, well, I guess they're not young white males, are they? They're the ones going out buying guns, lots of ammunition, and trying to commit mass murder. It's a big difference between us and them. There is nothing similar about us. Jolene, let's move on. We're running out of time, but still, we'll stay here as long as we have to. And it's my good friend, Mr. Skylight, with a $19.99 super chat donation. And he's got a scientist, a philosopher, a writer, a thinker. He says, and this is the quote, and Mr. Skylight's great for getting us quotes that are applicable. He says, you can easily judge the character of a man by how he treats those who can do nothing for him. It takes a little thinking, right? You can easily judge the character of a man by how he treats those who can do nothing for him. So politicians, what do? They go to people and say, we'll give you stuff, we'll give you money, we'll give you food if you vote for me. In other words, those people, they treat well because they do stuff for them. They'll vote for them. They'll give them power. Take a look at politicians, Democrats, liberals, communists. You and I can do nothing for them. We will do nothing for them. We won't vote for them. We won't give them money. We won't support them. So we can judge their character by how he treats us, by how she treats us, if we're talking about camel toes, by people like mainstream media characters. Cute little Katie Couric wants to throw us in prison. Hillary Clinton calls us deplorable. And folks, I've got some information about Kamala Harris. The way she treats people who are her staff, not strangers, but people who she thought she had private arrangements for, right? She said that she is these people, folks, and 92% of her staff have quit. She's turned over 92% of her staff since she's been vice president. They described Kamala Harris as a soul-destroying bully, and that her toxic behavior towards others left people in tears. Obama, Hillary, Pelosi, Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Nonads Nadler, Peter Schiff. There is a trail of blood behind these people. Joe Biden, Jill Biden, Hunter Biden. Toxic. So thank you, Mr. Skylight, for showing us the difference. What can people do for Trump that he can't do for himself? The only thing he needs is to be in office. So he tells people, right? This is what I want to do. I want to make America great again. But what has he done for people prior to that? He has won awards, folks. He won an award, the same award that was granted to at the same time Rosa Parks, the black woman who refused to sit in the back of the bus. Muhammad Ali, great boxing legend, and Donald Trump all received humanitarian awards for what they've done for others. There are countless stories out there. You'll find them on the internet. You'll find them on Twitter about the good things Trump has done for people who are in need, who could do nothing for him, but he helps them out. Ask yourself this. Where did all the money go that Bill and Hillary Clinton collected for the Haitians and the Haitian people and the Haitian children? Where did that money go? That's the same exact question the people of Haiti are asking. Where did all that money go that they collected for us? A lot of questions out there, folks. A lot of questions. Great super chat. Thank you. We've got more to go, folks. We're at the 2-hour mark, but I'll keep talking as long as we've got super chat donations. And it's Dan Erickson with another super chat donation. He says, my Freedom Seed device is 1 minute of angle at 100 yards. But he's letting us know that if you come close to him and you threaten him, you're not going to be in good shape, folks. It's set at 1 minute of angle. Anyways, the point is look out. I think there's a difference in understanding about ballistics and firearm safety and marksmanship between someone like Dan, who understands how to sight in his weapon, and he's probably trained with it sufficiently, and he understands morally who he's supposed to protect: children, the innocent, America, our nation, the republic, versus somebody who wants to get a full auto Glock. So he's a gangsta. I hope and I pray, Dan, that you don't have to use your Freedom Seed spreader, but there's a good chance that you may. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Understand, folks. Understand what's going on. Trump, in his campaign, has released advertisements blasting Kamala Harris and pointing out that she likes lawlessness, right? Kamala Harris encouraged terrorism in 2020, and she funded the release of domestic terrorists, Antifa and BLM, who burned our cities, murdered our people, looted our stores, and assaulted and murdered policemen. There's a difference between us and them, truly. And so having your Freedom Seed device is a good thing to have. Being trained with it is a good thing to have. And of course, training your mind, understanding the law, where it's applicable, how it's applicable, and understanding where we're at in current events and what the biggest threats are. That's what we talk about here on the Prepared Mind channel, is what are the threats and how do we protect ourselves and others and the nation. The Democrats aren't talking about that. They're talking about Trump and Republicans trying to destroy democracy. We don't have democracy in America. We never did. We have some democratic principles. The Democrat Party is the Democrat Party, but democratic principles are not the Democratic Party. Democratic principles are voting for our elected leaders, but we have a constitutional republic. Trump is not trying to destroy a democracy. We don't have one of those. We have a constitutional republic that has some democratic principles, but it's a republic. We have to understand the difference. It's not that subtle, folks. It isn't. Trump has taken the gloves off. Chin Music has taken the gloves off. Everyone is taking the gloves off. Period. Let's do this. I think we got another super chat. We're at after 2 hours and continuing on. Woo! Jolene Uman, who is up next? And it is William Hall. Did Matt D ever do his question? Uman says no. William Hallman with a 556 super chat donation. One of my favorite calibers. He says, hey, John, did you have fun in the desert back in 1991, a.k.a. the Gulf War? I'm going to tell you, Mr. Hallman, I did not participate in the Gulf War as a United States Marine. No, sir, I did not. And I don't know if anyone had fun on that one. I appreciate the question, the enthusiasm, and the suggestion, but have to be honest, wasn't there. I went some other strange places around the planet, but I was not there back in 1991. A lot of people did go there, served, and folks, a lot of strange stuff. I guess that's a tale for another time. Thank you, William, very much. I hope you have plenty of 556 in your home and that you are well prepared for what is coming. You need food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. Your plan for what is coming, what is being promised to us, right? From Hezbollah killing, 11 children at least. Folks, the Democrats are losing their support and they're getting desperate. Michigan auto workers have come out and they're speaking up. And one says, hey, look, this is the quote, America is done for if Kamala Harris is elected president. Folks, everyone knows and understands that Kamala is Obama's destroyer. His Kamala. Did you know that Kamala is the name of a demigod that is a laughing, destructive demon, right? Kamala, I think, is under Kali. Very dangerous, crazy-ass world, folks. Very crazy. Woo! Okay, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to sign off. I get to wake up early tomorrow, 0 dark 30, and head out into this crazy, wild world. I hope you are prepared for what's coming. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Share that internet address. Hit the thumbs up. Make sure you're a subscriber. And I will see you. And one last thing. If you are a premium member at thepreparedmind.club, you can join us live in the afternoons every day on the Prepared Mind channel. That's at thepreparedmind.club and subscribestar.com. And there it is. Thank you again, Jolene, for all you do. And I tell you what, it's going to get wild, folks. 100 days and counting. It's coming.